Day Dawns ARKS. Welcome everyone to your Phantasy Star podcast recorded live on August 22nd, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, PrinceBrightstar, and with me is Zance. Go ahead and say hello.
Hello. Welcome, everyone.
So, it's been a little while since we last checked in here. We know that we missed Braver last time, so we are definitely going to be talking about that today here as the first topic, because we got to catch up on that. But we've also got some other stuff coming up here. We're going to be talking a little bit about the mining rig defense mission, as well as the Dengeki interview that occurred with Hiro. So that's going to be fun to go through. And then we got some updates for Clementine, as well as Phantasy Star Portable to Infinity as well here.
Yes, because there is a restoration patch working on Infinity, which I hope it fixes all the sound effects, because the sound effects are such low quality.
I don't know if they're working on that necessarily yet, and this is an independent project from the prior HD restoration, but we'll see what happens here with this one. But anyway, why don't we go ahead and kick things off here with our thoughts on the Braver class, which was introduced earlier this month, and I'll come right and say it. I don't think Katana is that good.
I'm going to agree with you on that.
Yeah.
The attack radius is just not there, and when it comes to a lot of the attacks, it just lacks oomph.
Agreed. Yeah, it seems like to me, at the very least, you need to multi-weapon that with like a wired lance or something like that, just so you get a proper gap closer on that thing.
Yeah, there's no gap closer. Like, at least Katana in PSO2 had a gap closer.
Yep. And for Hunter, I mean, we've already got Twisting Zapper, which is a little bit of one, but as I've said in the past, it's not as fast as I would like it, but it's still something. So,
and with Bow, I have yet to actually try Bow.
Bow, I actually have a better opinion on.
Okay.
If I ever were to go, say, Hunter Braver, I could see myself using Sword as sort of my main primary thing. But then when it came to bosses, especially with hard-to-hit weak points, as long as I can get a lock-on on that, there is one photon art that you can just charge up 2 levels and just release it at that second level, and it just does a ton of damage. It's very similar to an attack that you used to do in base PSO2, where you would rise up for a few inches off the ground and just fire a really powerful shot. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
But I'm not quite sure what the name of it is necessarily off the top of my head.
I don't remember the name as well. I know what you're talking about, though, because that's used a lot that was used a lot in the PvP mode.
Yep. And then also there's also another attack that basically sends these little bits around in the sky, which sort of creates a little bit of a dot effect on enemies, which can also be useful. But that's more if you're primarily using the bow rather than switching off to different weapons after. It might be Flex Arrow, yeah. But yeah, unfortunately with the Katana, the range is just really, really short. It does seem to have a little bit more damage than what you can get out of a Hunter with the sword, but that's if you can get all 3 levels of the photon art to go off. The way that it works is you basically hold down the button, the first level goes off, then the second level goes off, and then the final level goes off. But the main problem with that is getting an enemy to just sit tight there for all 3 charges to go off, while you're, still trying to avoid attacks and things like that. So, in concept it was a good idea, but in practice it's really not that good, especially with how much more mobile enemies have become with New Genesis.
And I also want to say this, like the attack range not being long enough, it's the same problem with Tector's Wand. The attack range is just not there.
Yep. And the one good thing I can say about Katana, though, is when you do get a counter off, that at least does send out a fairly decent attack, like it did back in base PSO2. It has a little bit of range to it at that point, but at that point, I mean, you're already being hit, so how close is the enemy to you at that point? The other nice thing is that it does give you a brief window to not take any damage once you do get a counter off. I think it's like 1 to 2 seconds long, so if you've just got a bunch of enemies piling on top of you, that damage isn't going to stack if you can get that off. But at the same time, I would also... Go ahead.
It feels exactly like how it was originally supposed to be designed as a countering kind of class. So you react to the enemy's attack and then counter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I would also say the one thing that Braver sorely needs at this point, if you're going to be countering like that, is similar to Hunter. They need to get an Omni block at this point.
Yeah, that's another thing with that. It is only one direction, right in front of you.
Yep. Even some of the abilities that Braver has that could potentially have made it useful as a subclass just really aren't there. Like, it'll give you a little bit extra HP back whenever you use a rest assign, but it's just a little bit. Frankly, I wish that Braver had gotten 100% restoration and maybe the subclass got 80%. Instead, it's just like an extra 20% and 10% if you got it as a subclass. So it really just doesn't make it useful at all. And something like that, for me, as a Hunter main, would make that class very attractive at that point, just for the idea that a single rest assign could restore me back to full health, when, you know, I'm supposed to be tanking things all the time.
But regardless of that seems like to be the only good benefit of having it as a sub.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That plus being able to use that one bow attack, so that if something if something gets out of reach, you can at least still keep on attacking it in the meantime until it comes back in range. Yeah, it just isn't powerful enough. It doesn't have enough versatility to really do what it needs to do, and that's why I'm sticking with Hunter Force. Because Force at least... Yeah, Force at least gives you both the passive way of regaining photon points, plus the active photon convert ability, plus the ability to just absorb photon points whenever an enemy goes down. It's just a better combo at this point.
And it really makes me worried about what they're going to be doing with Bouncer. I feel like they're going to greatly reduce the effectiveness of the dual blades or the soaring blades. That is my favorite weapon to use on Bouncer.
They might, and I would not be surprised at this point if they're going to get rid of that Jet Boots photon art that just made you spin around like a top. That thing was really powerful when that thing first came out.
I know, and it's still pretty strong. I like the complexity of Bouncer and being like the Jet Boots being tech based. Like I like that. I'm just concerned because of how Braver was rolled out here in NGS. It makes me concerned with what they're going to do to screw up Bouncer. Because every other class so far, except for Tector, had a pretty good transition.
I agree. Yeah. Hunter is a little bit less than I would have liked it, but it's still decent enough that it's still my main at this point.
And then Gunner just feels so fluid.
Yep. Yep, especially with now the chain being on you instead of on the enemy, so if the enemy goes down, you don't lose the benefit.
Yeah, it just improves. Yeah, nerf everything in a nutshell. Yeah, and I'm concerned that it's going to cause more nerfs.
It could very well.
Especially with who the current director is right now. It's very likely.
Yeah, you want to bring that up here?
So yes, the current director is also was the director of episode 4 and episode 5, which were the low points of PSO2.
Yeah. To bring somebody like that back in, I have to ask Sega, what are you doing? Are you trying to kill this game off from the start? I mean, unfortunately, the guy has proven that he can't handle the series properly.
Especially when it comes to content updates, balancing, and just having things to do as well.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking a little bit more about that later in the interview with Hiro Arai. He does actually clarify some of that for us now, so that's... all I can say is, based on what I read initially, we need to settle in for the long haul on that, unfortunately.
Yeah. It just makes it more clear that this game was rushed.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so those are our thoughts on Braver, unless you wanted to say anything else here.
No, I got my thoughts out on that.
Alright. So, let's go ahead and move on now to our thoughts on mining rig defense, or rather, my thoughts, since Zan still hasn't had a chance to actually...
I haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, so this will be useful for you as well here, Zance, because I am going to be pulling up a video to go along with this.
From what I was told, it's pretty much just like the defense missions in PSO2.
Pretty much, yeah. It's actually very similar in style. And in fact, even the music is like that. It's basically it's a 6-wave mission, and you're defending 3 mining rigs. And there are various strategies that you can do to extend waves if you feel that you need to do that. In fact, right now I would actually recommend doing something like that, just so that players can get enough points to make sure that they can get like extra restorations on the rigs for when damage comes in, because it is really hard to get that S rank. I think you need to have like a 90% health on those mining rigs to even qualify for that at this point.
I do like that the enemies are level 20.
Oh yeah, so you're definitely getting the full bit of experience from that.
It actually puts emphasis on making sure that you're actually fully ready for this.
Exactly. Although I have seen some players get in there when they're still like level 15, level 16, just because they qualify at the battle point level.
And yeah, I did see the cutscene whenever you loaded into the game first time. That was a nice little cutscene.
Yep. Yep. I wish that they had held off on that a little bit until, you know, players were aware that was going to happen like that. So I could have captured that on video, but oh well. But yeah, basically you got 6 waves that come down. The first 2 waves are shorter than the 3rd to 6th wave. You're going to get alters in waves 2 and 3, but the rest of it is pretty much an entire dolls affair. And there are some dolls in wave 2 and 3 as well. But the main thing is just making sure you keep everybody off the towers, as well as keep an eye on your mini-map like every 15 seconds or so, because things can pop up quick, like infections are back on the mining rig, so you gotta take those out either by raising the shield or attacking the growth that's appeared on the mining rig. And one thing that I found that's effective, and I'm kind of showing it off here, is you can actually tank some of these enemies, and really just kind of extend the wave to the end of the time if you wanted to do that.
Okay. So, from what I'm seeing with this footage, it is pretty much like a combination of the defense missions and the Buster quests.
Pretty much, yeah. And in fact, speaking of Buster quests, they do have waves where there can be interference whereby walls show up and you have to either go around the wall or take them down.
Yep, just like Buster quests.
Yep. I will say at least that the variety in the terrain does help the mission. Just because you then kind of have these different zones in the terrain where you can try to, say, set up a blockade with some players of whatever wave is coming in. And know that if anybody goes over the edge, then more players need to get on that. It is definitely a fun experience, and There's even a new boss that I'm going to show you here. That's actually not what we were shown previously. We were shown the gunner type doll that was introduced, but they introduced a new boss with this as well. Let me see. Here it is. Yeah, the gunner doll basically combines itself with this like spider-like thing here. And the way that you take this thing out is, aside from just constantly attacking it, when it starts to charge up its energy bubble, if you attack that energy bubble, you're just going to stagger the thing. And that opens up its weak point at that point. The thing that you really have to watch out for in Wave 5 and 6 is when the gunner, the Destragas, disconnects itself from the other attachment here. And it goes straight over to where one of the mining rigs is. What it's doing there is it's charging up a one-hit KO on the mining rig, even if the mining rig is at 100% health. If that thing goes off, it's gonna kill the tower.
Oh, fine.
Yeah. So, whenever that happens, it needs to have everybody's attention. They basically gotta stop what they're doing, and either...
It's like the towers in the Buster Quest.
Yep. Yep, I completely agree with you there. But it is fun. It still feels like it's got a little bit more variety than Buster Quest did.
Probably
especially
just because of the you're in a like a hilly terrain instead of it just being a flat plain.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, so that's basically the new urgent quest. At the end, you do get a quest storage reward that has like somewhere between, I think, 30 to 50 items at the end. So you definitely want to make sure your inventory is clear for that. And that is where you're getting the new Evolve series from, as well as even new units, which are basically the Alta armor. But they have new designations attached to them, Arga, as well as two other types. Shiza, I think, is another one.
Okay.
And those give you yet another increase to your damage. So, now we've got augments, plus the fixed ability, and the way the item is, the way the item is named. Those are all ways to increase the power that is coming off of these. So, yeah, it's, I am certain that a level 5 fix with one of these named the Alta Armors is going to sell for a lot of Meseta.
Oh, definitely. I think in NGS now I have 5 million, which isn't much, but I haven't been on much.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I need to keep up with doing the alpha reactors a bit better. And thank you, Captain Radix. Belta, that was the other name. So yeah, it's definitely holding me, at least for the time being. But yeah, we're gonna need to get some new content soon here. Hopefully it won't be too long.
I really hope so too, because part of the reason, again, that I haven't been playing this much is, 1, I have other games that I play, 2, I'm busy with work, and 3, there's just not much to do after you reach 20.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you can max out all the classes, but we're still waiting on the title system to come out as well.
Yeah, that's not even there, or even the mission pass.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bad situation. I mean, they gave us something to keep us busy, at least for the time being, but that's not going to last more than 2 weeks, I don't think.
Yep, and I also have other stuff to complain about, because there's a lot of things that small things that just tick me off about New Genesis here. One is when it comes to the featured items in the AC shop, they're capped, like whenever you put them on the shop, they are capped at 500,000. Which means items that nobody wants will always be stuck at 500,000.
Yep. Yeah, that's another problem that a lot of players are complaining about, unfortunately.
The other thing I don't like is outerwear outfits being permanent. Like, once you use them, they're permanently to your character. I don't like that because that means you can't resell it. Like, if you
Agreed.
don't like the outfit anymore and you just want to sell it for some extra meseta, you can't do that anymore.
Agreed. Why the change, Sega? Why? It was fine what we had back in base PSO2.
Also, it allowed them to sell more inventory expansions.
Oh yeah, agreed.
And it also completely took away a source of consistent SG.
Yep.
Granted, you can still get that SG from original PSO2. It's still there, but it would have been nice to keep it in New Genesis as well.
Agreed. So we'll see what is coming down the pipe, I guess, soon here. But with that, why don't we now check out the what we've got here in terms of news, at least for this week here. So, starting off, there was the release of the Alio Town swimsuit pack. This was previously announced in one of the prologue web streams. So this is where you have the male and female sets split here. For the males, you get the Alio Nadar base, the Asmito hair, the Levia sunglasses, Leviathan tattoo, Compass tattoo, as well as Tattoo B, the swim crawl motion, the stamp for Aina Ride the Wave. You get two sets, you get two premium sets of 15 days. You get two material store. Yeah, I agree. It's despite everything that's in this, I don't think that that's really worth the price of admittance to this one here. Maybe if they added four of those premium sets, it would at least make a little bit more sense at that point. You've also got a set here for the females. You get the Alio Nature base, the Asmina hair, Estive corsage, the Estive foot ruffles, Nagerin sleeves, the Estive tattoo, and the Tattoo B, and then the rest of it is pretty much the same as what's in the male set. But yeah, each of these is... Well, the one for the males is $41.99. The one for the females is $43.99. It just really is not worth the price. Except maybe for the fact that the main motions that you've seen are, as of right now, costing, what is it, like $70 or something from the AC scratches? It's just crazy what the price on these is turning out to be, and if that's sort of the only thing that is sort of worth it here. It's sort of like you get like a 50% discount on that, but even then, it just really is not worth it in the end to be going after this, especially with the way the game is at this point.
Like, I justified getting the Rappy outfit because that was just new game hype about that, and also the Rappy motion just looked adorable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I grabbed it as well, but this one, I just can't recommend it, and frankly, we don't even know if this is going to be going away anytime soon. And so just based on that, I would say, at the very least, hold off until the state of the game improves before you look at this.
Yeah.
Aside from that, there is a new AC Scratch ticket out here. Let's take a quick look at that here. This is the Summer Sky Seaside. With this, of course, you got some male and female, or Type 1 and Type 2 costumes, rather. Including what looks to be a Seaside maid there.
And that's the one thing that they're being very consistent on, is updating the AC scratches.
Yeah, definitely. You do have a claw, that, like a crab claw that you can get for casts, which actually does look pretty nice. I considered getting it, except that it clashes with the tentacles that my cast has. You also got the butterfly swim with this one here, but once again, that is a bonus prize, so that's going to cost you quite a bit there.
And that's another thing I'm annoyed by. All the like really cool motions or idle poses are locked behind doing a bunch of scratches.
Yep. Yep, and I know I said that I was going, if they ever do the all-on-fours motion, I would do it. But aside from that, I really can't ever, recommend going for any of those.
I personally don't have the money to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think it really shows the difference between the Japanese and the global version, just how much of a difference there is here and what's acceptable. And I think this is one of the things that Sega is going to have to realign on if we're ever going to, if they're ever going to see this game reach mass popularity in the West. They gotta figure something out here, whether that be Premium gets like free AC scratch tickets or something like that. I don't know, but Sega needs to realign the global version on their AC scratches, because this is not working.
Oh yeah, obviously it's all about preying on the whales, because that's what the majority of money most of these games get from, the whales.
Right. Yeah, I guess it's a question.
I've actually
how much...
read like some philosophy stuff on that. It's like called whale hunting. It's a very predatory design aspect when it comes to a lot of free-to-play games, especially in the mobile market.
That is true. That is very true. Yeah, here's that claw again here. Yeah, there's still a fun thing to have. That's for certain. Especially since the claw does move. So it's.
I have no problem with just putting a couple bucks into doing an AC scratch every now and then. And hell, I still have the premium. I have premium until October 9th.
Yep. Yeah, I'm in the same situation. In fact, I've got, because of different deals that were being done, I technically still got another. I think I've got a 60-day that I need to use up at some point, but I can hold off on that until things improve a little bit here. And yeah, there it is. At 45 scratches, the swim butterfly motion.
Yeah, and when you think about how every scratch is relatively, it's 200 AC, it's close to 200 AC per scratch. Unless you do the multi one, then it's a bit cheaper.
Yep.
But you're still looking at close to $80.
Yeah, it's insane. That's for certain. Alright, let's move on now to this here, which was an issue when Sega apologized about the whole Star Gem scratch. They distributed an Astute Braver ticket. However, that Astute Braver ticket could not be used.
Oh boy.
Instead, it was an item with no name on it. And yeah, basically Sega just told everybody to trade that in for free and rare drop rate booster of 25%.
Yeah, I was wondering why I had an item that was just blank name.
Yeah, that's what you do with it. You just trade it in. So second level apology for that one.
But they did eventually fix it and give you the actual thing.
Yep. Let's see. This is the actual update information from this week here. Once again, we got the new urgent quest here, including the Destragras boss that was added, along with all the new Evol Coat weapons. Here's the AC scratch we just looked at, and then they also said new item drops will be added for enhanced enemies, and new augments will be added as well. And I did actually find some of those Evolved Coat weapons off of the enhanced enemies when I was just running around in Vanford.
And yeah, unique rare weapons. That would actually be something different and something fun to do. It's part of the reason why like older PSO games are just, or like the older Phantasy Star games are just better that way, because hunting for those unique rare weapons just felt good, especially after you got them.
Yeah, my fear here is that rather than having that, the way we're going to get sort of those unique weapons is just to attach different camos onto the weapon instead.
And that just doesn't... It's not fun to hunt for the... It's not fun to hunt for a series weapon, because you might get a weapon in that series that's not your weapon.
Right. Yeah, so yet another step that we're going to have to see what Sega decides to do here. I mean, I'm sorry we're having to be so negative here.
Phantasy Star Portable 2 again, but the amount of times that I ran White Beast just to get the Lambda Excalibur, it was infuriating every time I ran it and got a 13 star with that, or a 14 star that wasn't the Lambda Excalibur. But eventually I did get it, and it felt really good because the weapon is unique, because it has you can hit an additional enemy with your basic attack.
Right. Yeah, something like that, it becomes very, very useful. But who knows if we're going to see anything like that in New Genesis.
And I highly doubt it. Especially with the way that things are going right now.
Yeah. Yeah, Sega's got to do something, and I don't know if anything is going to be coming quickly enough to actually make a difference here.
Like when it came to unique weapons in PSO2, actually, during episode 4 and 5, there weren't any really big unique weapons until episode 6.
Yep. Yep, and even after that, when they released the sealed J sword for the hunter, which that you could unseal just by taking out a certain number of enemies with the weapon equipped, and that would then give you a title that gave you a camo that basically unsealed the sword.
Yeah, it's stuff like that, like having the unique weapons that have different kinds of properties, and even like the 14-star weapons. Some of them were very unique, like the one that you had for a while there, right?
Yep. Yeah, I remember... Yeah, there was something that was just sort of best in slot for, I think it was for Summoner for like a year or something like that. But yeah, yeah, I hate being this negative on things, but Sega's got to do something to really improve things here. Thankfully, base PSO2 is still up inside the game.
Yeah.
And so players are able to go back to that.
We're only being negative because we want the game to improve.
Exactly.
I really enjoy this game. The gameplay is really fun. It's just a lot of little things that really start to add up, that there's a reason why the player base is dropping pretty hard right now.
Agreed. But let's move on here. There was also this update here going over the maintenance details, including all the items that were distributed as campaign items. They also set out some bug fixes here. They fixed a bug where the number of available target AC scratch items was reduced when target SG scratch items are used to exchange for an N augmentation success rate plus 15%. That was only a display-only bug, though. They fixed a bug where the emote 760 Braver pose causes the impersonate action to not perform correctly. They fixed a bug where players were unable to select page 2 in the current effects window under the stat information in the character menu. They fixed a bug where, well, we already, actually this is a separate one. SG scratch ticket prize slips is not displayed in the target item list for the N rare drop rate plus 25% in item recycle. So actually it's a really good thing they fixed that, or else players would still have that item with no name on it.
Yeah.
And then they also addressed a bug that causes the game to crash during battle at the Vanford Laboratory ruins, but as a side effect of that, drones are not appearing at that location temporarily, and until the bug is fixed, they will not appear. They've also confirmed bugs with some of the costumes here, the Vaporo snorkel set, the Cervante Lelu base, as well as the Marine Taru base. And then they also extended the reward for the first part of the Weblink panel reward out to the 19th, because some of that was not being applied correctly to the North Aleo region. On the base side of PSO2 here, there's actually a change coming here. They are discontinuing the Casino Coin 50 ticket and the Casino Coin 450 ticket from the NPC Cameo Swap Shop 2. And this is something that was kind of needed because players had run out of Casino Coin tickets and were unable to play the casino anymore.
Oh.
Yeah! So what they've done is they've made Casino Coins a part of the weekly mission pass now. Or actually the daily mission pass.
Okay.
So you'll be able to get 5 of those daily now. So that at least is a good change for base PSO2 there. There's also a bug where protected containers where the barriers or barrier pods that are necessary to unlock the barriers may not be displayed. They're working on a solution, so for the time being, just be aware that this is a bug. And also today is premium day for or PSO2 day for premium users, rather. So you do get your typical assortment of items, including the free gift of 44 star gems, as well as the boosters you see here, including an extra 5% experience and a rare drop rate of 20% for New Genesis. Sorry to hear about that, Tannic. That you're unable to get into base PSO2.
Oh, damn. Yeah, because they did increase the requirements.
Yep. And later this week, we do have the new NGS headline coming up on Tuesday morning. I will of course be streaming that. Zance, are you going to be available, or are you going to be busy?
Sadly not, because of work.
Gotcha. Yep, work has to take priority on everything, of course. So, fully understand. Looks like they will be teasing Bouncer, though. They say that's coming in October. So, at least we now have a more specific date for that. But not the actual date yet, so... we'll see what they've got planned for September. They say that there is an autumn event coming, so we will see what that entails. Hopefully that's going to hold players over, but if it's similar to the 9th anniversary event, that may not be enough.
Players over.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for the official website. We do also have some interviews to go through here with Hiro Arai. These were conducted by Dengeki. Now, we are using Google Translate, so just be aware that not all the translations may make sense here. And in fact, already I can see here they're talking about planet Harfa instead of Halfa. So
yeah, machine translation. It's not perfect.
Yeah. All right, so why don't I ask the questions, and you'll kind of play the role of Hiro here.
Could you send me a link there, since there is a delay on the stream?
Yeah, you got it. One moment. There's the first one.
Thank you.
And there's the second one. Let me know if that doesn't work for you.
Nope, they worked.
Okay, great. Alright, so go ahead and please introduce yourself, as this is the first interview.
My name is Hiro Arai, and I'm in charge of the official navigator of NGS. Thank you. My main work is the production and appearance of NGS Headline and the activity of community account Rappi.kamu. In addition to preparing the content to be sent, I am also involved in planning campaigns on SNS. What's SNS?
I'm not sure. That might be just a translation thing.
Okay, and preparing various PR measurements.
Okay. Please tell us what. Yeah, that's another translation issue there. What are you struggling with when working?
First, you have to know the game. I play NGS every day, and I make a special effort to stand in the user's perspective. The difficult thing is it a belief? What? Translation. I used to think that I had the same perspective as the user, but I felt that it was difficult because it was different from my own skin sensation.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to kind of muddle through this, unfortunately, because we don't have anybody here that can.
G translations though.
We can laugh at Google. Let's see. You know what? We're gonna skip that next one here because that one just doesn't make any sense. I don't think. Is Hiro playing games in private?
I've been playing games since I was a kid, and I've been playing mainly action games for about 30 years. I've also played PSO2 and NGS, not in private, but I've been doing it for about 500 hours.
Okay, so at least this guy at least does have some experience with the game, so he's probably feeling some of the stuff the rest of the player base is feeling.
Probably. It's about roughly around the same amount of playtime I have. Although
Yep.
I'm close to, I think, 700 hours, I think.
Okay. So I'm trying to think how to reword that. The broadcast program New Genesis Headline. I guess just tell us about that.
Proteinatic.
Yeah. Thanks, Google.
I'm confused by To be honest, I'm still good at free talk, so I have to read. I have a lot to read on the script. NGS Headline has the image of a news program, and I think it's better not to put out such a thing as much as possible. The key to the program is that you can watch it in a short time, but in the future, I would like to gradually bring out my own color. So yeah, it's in like the presentation of a news program.
Yeah, and I think that's going to sort of why they got rid of so many staff members on that show for New Genesis.
Which kind of is upsetting because I like the more character-based way that they were originally doing stuff in NGS, or not for NGS, for like the PSO Plus.
Yep. Yeah. So, what was the aim of changing the performance and composition from PSO2 Station Plus? Actually, that's exactly the next question here.
Yep. When releasing information on NGS, I thought it would be difficult for new users and returning users to enter in the same group as PSO2 Station Plus. The reason is that we wanted everyone to see NGS from the same perspective by renewing the program.
And then they have a question here about the prologues here. Can you tell us the reason why you chose Hariichi Yuki Iwai as the MC and the three women as the sub-MCs?
Since everyone loves games, we have assigned the ones who have a high affinity for games. One of the reasons is that Mr. Iwai was playing the series from Phantasy Star universe. Regarding the women's team, there was also an aim to appeal to those who did not know about PSO2 until now.
And that makes sense, given that they kept PSO2 base still alive at this point here.
And honestly, it's good that they kept PSO2 base alive at this point.
Agreed. Not sure what they're talking about new layers here, so we'll skip that one. Did the number of new users increase as you intended?
Thanks to you, the number of new users have increased on a larger scale than when the PS Vita version and PS4 version of PSO2 were released.
Okay.
Oh boy, you reminded me of the Vita version of PSO2. Oh.
Yeah, so it seems like they at least did get a good boost out of this, but we don't know. Actually, do they say it here when this took place? No, it doesn't seem like it.
This, it was just published on
Yep.
the 19th and then updated on the 22nd.
Yeah, so
And on Dengeki Online, it just says the 21st. Okay.
yep. After the service was launched, NGS Headline was started. Please tell us the reason why you changed it.
I think that PSO2 Station Plus had many free talks and variety corners in addition to new information. It was made so that you can enjoy it not only as an announcement, but also as one of the contents of PSO2. On the other hand, there were many users who wanted to know only the information, and the trend of video distribution in recent years is that shorter ones are preferred, so this form was adopted. For fun broadcasts, we ask influencers to broadcast live play.
We've definitely been seeing that on the global side.
Oh yeah, I see that on the Twitter constantly advertising featured creators.
Yep. So I guess going forward, this show is just going to be on the shorter side then here. And so Hiro-san,
fine.
It does get the information out. Although I did also like learning about some of the background stuff of what was actually going on in the game. So will Hiro-san continue to promote NGS Headline alone?
Yes, basically I will be in charge of it alone.
Currently, you're distributing pre-recorded programs, but are there any plans to make it a live broadcast when the corona situation is over?
Actually, pre-recording is not a countermeasure against corona damage. We intend to send information to users of the domestic and global versions of NGS at the same time. We will continue to use the pre-recording format as we will deliver it by translating it or optimizing it to a length that is easy to see. However, in addition to the update information, we would like to add operational statuses and other information to make the program even better.
Yeah, here's a little hint on that one. The Japanese version is different from the global one because they've got additional collaborations happening that the global version doesn't get. So that's why they have to do it.
So the divide's already happening then, huh?
Yep. Yep. It typically happens towards the end of the show, but there is definitely that divide there, and it's a shame that once again they're kind of segregating things here like that, whereby the global version just isn't getting to participate in these things. Although it's possible that the deals that Sega's working out may not be the ones making that decision, because it could be on the other side, like the current collaboration that they're doing with. I forget what their name is, but I think they're a Japanese-only music group.
Okay.
So that might explain at least part of it, but yeah, there's a reason why they can't bring it to a live format. Are you planning to make an extended program at the time of a major update?
Depending on the amount of information, it may be longer than usual, but we plan to make it as compact as possible.
I'd like to ask you about the global version earlier. How has the response been?
I'm not in charge of the global version, but I manage it so that there are no discrepancies in information while communicating with information and announcements. Like the domestic version, the global version is played by the largest number of users ever. However, it seems that the opinions at the volume of the time of service is insignificant, and that there are many problems are more severe than in Japan. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, and insufficient actually is the word.
Yeah, insufficient. Okay. So yeah, I could definitely see that, the difference between a global market and a Japanese market, and especially in terms of game design stuff.
Yep. How about the access ratio between PCs and consumers in the global version?
There's a big difference in platform between the domestic version and the global version, and PC users are overwhelming. The domestic version is about half and half, but it seems that the number of PC users is increasing due to the influence of the popularity of FPS and PC games these days. And that is also another discrepancy between Japanese and global audience. When it comes to especially US and Europe audience, that are more likely to be playing PC compared to the Japanese audience, which is more likely to do console. Hence why, like Dragon Quest X, it sees a lot of people playing on console over playing it on PC.
Yep.
Hell, yeah, like it originally released on the Wii first, and then PC.
Yeah, and plus for Japan, they've got the PS4 version versus here on the global version where we've got the Xbox version.
And then also back to Dragon Quest X again. That's on Wii U, Switch, and PS4, along with PC. So yeah, there's plenty of ways that, like I said, the console market is much stronger in Japan over PC market, but that is starting to increase more into PC market from what I'm seeing. But it is roughly mostly console still.
Yep. So when did the NGS project start?
Regarding development, we will answer based on the content heard from the development team in advance. The project started in 2017, before I was involved in NGS.
And can you please tell us how you decided to update PSO2 instead of creating a new title?
I wanted to continue the service while making the best use of the avatar items and equipment of users who have been playing for a long period of 9 years. Also, since it was possible that users would be dispersed of two titles were provided in parallel, such as PSO2 and PSO3, we decided to deploy it as a major update, which makes sense.
Yeah, definitely the best decision that they could have made on that one. What was the most important thing in developing New Genesis?
There are two, and one overlaps with the previous answer, but it is to make use of the user's 9 years of assets. Oh, what?
Sorry, keep going.
Okay. The other is to create something like a plaza where everyone can gather. It was dropped into the open field stage.
Okay. What did you think about when creating the open field?
In the past series, it was an old-fashioned matching system that creates a room and enters, but we have changed it seamlessly. I think that the system that automatically matches and changes rooms while moving in the field has become a new form that combines the good points of MO and MMO. Honestly, I'm a bit iffy on that. I actually much prefer the matching system, like the room and matching system instead.
Yeah, it can sometimes be hard to get party members together. Yeah, I think they still have some work to do on that, especially making sure that if you're in a team that you don't, walk into one area and it spits you in a room that's already 31 out of 32.
And also, I would much prefer the further development of NGS to focus on the MO side instead of the MMO side.
Yep.
It's just better for its health. like even with other like very popular online games right now, Final Fantasy 14, it is much more a MMORPG than it is an MMO.
Definitely. With all the way the dungeons and the raids work, yeah, it's not massive 1,000 players against thousands of players.
And it's much better doing it that way.
Yep. The search section matches up to 32 people, but is it possible to make it even larger?
In action games, the maximum number of players is 32 because the network load is heavy and the individual battles become more complicated as the number of players increases.
The 32 players is going to be our maximum for New Genesis then.
Which makes sense.
Hopefully we do get some bosses, like really epic bosses that take advantage of that. Overall,
same for that, but I much rather keep like the more specific bosses. Just keep that to the normal 8 or 12.
Gotcha. Overall, I think there were twists and turns until it came to its current form, but what was the hardest part?
The biggest difference between PSO2 and NGS is that the graphics engine is different. It was difficult to make it look beautiful on both sides, and it seems that adjustments on the PSO2 side were particularly difficult. That is an understatement.
Definitely. A lot of people have complained about how the colors have changed and things like that. I have the impression that many people are still playing PSO2 even after the start of New Genesis, but what are the actual trends of users?
Many people are gathering in the lobbies of PSO2 to gather, and there is a request to increase the number of blocks of PSO2. Also, since the global version was distributed to Episode 6 in a short period of about 1 year, many users want to play PSO2 more. The development team was happy that there were so many people playing PSO2 after the start of NGS, and I was happy that it was worth the effort to leave PSO2. And yeah, it was a very good idea to leave PSO2 because that PSO2 originally has much more content to do than NGS right now.
Yep. But that's also something that I really hadn't considered before, given that I've been playing PSO2 since the alpha days. It's just, yeah, the global version did get all that content within a year, and so it's like they really haven't had enough time to really maximize the potential of that content yet. So that really makes sense that players are still going back to PSO2 in that case, and I guess if anything, that is one of the things that is at least keeping the community together between the patches. But we'll see how long that actually holds for, I guess. Is there a possibility to add more blocks for PSO2?
I want to keep an eye on trends for a while and make adjustments if necessary.
Okay. As mentioned before, what kind of line was used to determine the factors that can be passed from PSO2 to New Genesis?
First of all, it was immediately decided that avatar items that would not affect the game balance would be taken over unconditionally. Opinions were divided within the team regarding the battle, but since the stage is 1,000 years after PSO2, it was decided that all users would have the same start in terms of growth factors such as levels.
And what kind of judgment did you make regarding weapon, armor, special abilities, etc.?
In particular, many people have attachments to weapons that are equal to or greater than avatar items, so I thought it was not possible to simply reset them. In PSO2, when new equipment was delivered, there was a tendency to gradually shift to that, so we set the ability so that it would be a link until the equivalent delivered in NGS, or until the equipment delivered in NGS. Bit confused on that translation there.
Yeah. I would say that the PSO2 weapons are kind of replaceable immediately if you wanted to do it. Although I'm still hanging on to a little bit of my gear still at this point until I can get something that's of better quality.
And I replaced it.
Moving on to another section here. Approximately 2 months have passed since the service of New Genesis was launched. Please tell us about the user response.
The beautiful graphics of the field and the exhilaration of the open field in action are popular. The new system, multi-weapon, has also been very well received as it allows you to enjoy more free action.
On the contrary, what kind of part do you have a request for?
Volume, many defects, and lag. Yes, lag. Very much the lag. First of all, we apologize for any inconvenience caused by defects and lag. We will continue to prevent recurrence and take corrective actions. Regarding the volume size, as shown in the roadmap announced before the service in, there will be a major update in winter.
I wish they could lock that down and give us a more specific date on that, if it's going to be coming late December or something like that, because honestly, I don't know if the player base can wait until like February or March on that one. Does that mean that the volume side will remain as it is for a while?
I regret that I should have told you more about this, but the update policy is slightly different between PSO2 and NGS. PSO2 has been updated once every 2 weeks with the concept of having some fun every week. In NGS, it is a policy to take time to make a large volume and release it every 6 months, so there will be a wave in the amount of content.
I see.
Ouch.
Yeah,
no wonder like the player base is starting to drop off a bit at this point, because they're just waiting for new content.
Yeah, if anything, this seems like it's kind of taking the stance of sort of like what Final Fantasy XIV does, where they release everything as just a huge patch, and then there's nothing for like the next 4 to 6 months after that.
Problem is, during that 4 to 6 months, there's nothing to farm for.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you get through the content, then that's pretty much it, aside from whatever events they're doing, I guess.
Is it the difference in the game cycle? The development team knows that some users are playing around and taking a break, and we're working hard to make something good so that they can come back with every major update.
Will minor corrections be the main thing until major updates?
Of course, that doesn't mean there are no updates at all. We will update every 2 to 3 months, focusing on quest and system-related expansions. We also want to make it fun until the next region is delivered, such as seasonal events and new item delivery.
So, and here's the thing with this policy that I don't think works, and it's the fact that you've got this all set up the way that it already is, but you're still releasing a new AC scratch every single week. I mean, if you're trying to drop just these big patches like that, why not lump them into bigger packages and just let the scratch run for like a month or something like that? Or a couple of months, rather.
That's a good question. It's like they're more focused on getting those AC scratches out than doing actual substantial content.
Agreed. Yep. How fast do you plan to update the main story?
Main story is updated at the same time as the region is added. Side story is scheduled to be delivered about once every 2 or 4 months.
And compared to PSO2, it's definitely being delivered at a slower pace.
I agree. In NGS, all users will always play the story, so the volume of the story will not be as large as in PSO2. So it's also going the route of Final Fantasy XIV of the story is required in order to progress.
Yep, and that's also disappointing that they're not giving as much of a priority on story this time.
Because, yeah, the story doesn't take that long to complete, and after that, there's not much else.
Yeah. Hey, 10 Star. I want to ask you about the management policy, but please tell us the reason why the SG Scratch lineup has been added.
First of all, I apologize for not being notified in advance. Okay. I regret that I should have explained firmly before distribution that the update method is different from SG Scratch or PSO2. The reason for the change is that SG Scratch items, which are currencies that can be obtained without charge, have specifications that cannot be traded as a countermeasure against fraud, and I wanted to leave an opportunity to obtain them. In addition, PSO2 was updated about once every 6 months, but NGS is scheduled to be updated once every 1 to 2 months. For that reason, new items will continue to be added in the future. Like, updated every 6 months for the SG Scratch thing, yeah.
Correct, yeah. Returning to the story, who was the most popular NPC in the story?
Besides Aina and Manon, Bruder, Gallios, and Ryuin are also popular. In particular,
I think that's Garora and Li Lin.
Yeah. In particular, Bruder's appearance is said to be 17 years old, which appears to be one of the reasons for his popularity.
Yep. Please tell us the reason why you made it a double heroine of Aina and Manon.
PSO2 Matoy was the heroine, but one of the reasons is that we wanted to expand the range because each person has his or her own taste.
Speaking of double heroines, I imagine that you will eventually choose one or the other.
Laughs. You put the there, and then you put in parentheses laughs. What?
Yeah. Thanks, Google.
I don't think it's like getting married to either. No, that's actually a thing with the original as well.
Oh, okay.
They put in parentheses
thanks, Dengeki.
The kanji for laugh. Okay.
Personally, it seems that Flan and Daido Sword have taken over the enemy design of PSU. Is there any intention?
It seems that some people felt that they were very similar, but they are not conscious of the enemy design of PSU and had nothing to do with the story or settings. Since the enemy designs of the past series is one index, it may be that similar parts came out as a result.
So confirmed. They have nothing to do with the seed.
Damn, I thought that there was some sort of connection there.
Well, we still have other connections to check out, including the one with Phantasy Star Nova with that one particular Gigan says, as well as now Idola. And I'm going to see if I can pop this up real quick here, because this is kind of important that I get this out. One moment here. But a discovery was made regarding one of the Idola in episode 2. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. So if we zoom in on this, if you kind of take a look where the right arm sort of meets the chest there, and if you look at where the left leg meets the thigh, you can see this this sort of blue texture in there, which is very reminiscent of the color of dolls. So, yeah, this Idola may be dolls in origin. Yeah, tinfoil hat moment right there, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, so regarding the starter package, what are your selling points on that?
Special items are also available for download. It also contains items that are useful in the early stages, so it is recommended for those who are starting NGS from now on. In addition, the mini soundtrack CD included in the limited edition of starter package contains the main theme instrumental version, that is used only in the teaser movie released at the Tokyo Game Show 2020. The content is carefully selected by sound director Hideki Kobayashi, so I hope fans will enjoy it as well.
Yep, and then there's a second part to this interview which just dropped, so we're going to go and take a look at that as well here. Alright, so from here, we will mainly ask about detailed specifications. A new indicator of combat strength has been introduced. Why did you implement it?
I actually really like this combat strength thing. In PSO2, there was a system called an expert, but since it was implemented as an extension, there are many problems, and the finding power is based on that reflection.
In the first play, it was a big impression to meet the participation conditions of the emergency quest, but was this intended?
The emergency quest of PSO2 was structured so that anyone could participate, leveling and collecting equipment, but in NGS we are thinking in a different direction. It was set with the intention of learning how to become stronger through the goal of participating in an emergency quest. I also felt that it was a little difficult, so I posted a series of tweets on Rapikamu about how to improve the fighting power. And honestly, I much prefer that. I like the combat power aspect instead.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent to item level of other games, and it definitely helps to keep players that are woefully undergeared out of these missions. So you're not going to have a lot of players as angry as they used to be. Although at the same time, I have seen players dip out of the new urgent quest if things are not going their way. From the second class, will you be able to reuse the equipment, and will you be able to meet the participation conditions even at a low level? Was this also your intention?
I agree. In the first class, it was easy to raise the level due to the task reward of the story, but it seems that the balance is balanced in the part that is difficult to level after the second class.
I think we can thank Google on that one. The translation just didn't make sense, but basically they're saying here that whenever you're working on a subclass or making another class your second main class, it's the intention is, since you don't have those tasks anymore, it's going to be harder to level it up. The Urgent Notice quest has been abolished. What was the reason for this?
One of the reasons is that I wanted to change the fact that I was tied to a schedule. Also, in PSO2, at the beginning of the service, emergency quests were randomly generated for each ship, so the advanced notice emergency quest was a measure to eliminate that unfairness. For that reason, it became normal, but in NGS, the same emergency quest occurs at the same time for all ships, so it was abolished.
Currently, there is no equipment that can only be obtained in emergency quests, but is this also intentionally set?
Yes, most items are now available as permanent content so that rewards aren't tied to urgent quests. We aim to allow users to log in at their favorite time and play freely. So yeah, they're primarily just for getting pretty much experience points at this point.
Yep, that and having a little bit of random fun, or different kind of fun, I guess.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's an interesting change. It does bring out more accessibility, but I think it also detracts from that feeling of, knowing that after working at something consistently for a bit, that you get sort of the reward from that. Instead, it can just be a random drop that you get things. Although, I guess that does kind of also go back to the way of PSO1 as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting change to see them go back to that, I guess.
But with PSO1, you had specific items that you would hunt for off of specific monsters.
Yep. Will weapons limited to emergency quests be implemented in the future?
I think we may release special unique weapons. Also, there may be situations where the equipment that can be temporarily attained in the emergency quest is the strongest. However, our policy is to create opportunities for equipment of equal strength to be attained at events and permanent content.
Does the emergency quest not end content?
Basically, there are two axes play of the exploration section and the battle section, and emergency quests are prepared as accents. In the future, we would like to increase the content that uses a closed space such as a cocoon, and the trigger quest distribution on the roadmap is equivalent to that. Yeah, like after you did the cocoons once, there's no reason to do them again.
Yeah, unless you're trying to like speed run them or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what the plan is. Plus, we still don't know exactly how this trigger system is going to work. If just using the thing is going to instantly pop an urgent quest, or if they're going to implement something different than that. Why did you implement Gigantics in the exploration section?
Gigantics is positioned as a strong enemy that you will encounter while exploring. It was implemented in the exploration sections with the desire to provide a new type of play that PSO2 did not have, with up to 32 players fighting.
And it's definitely been interesting trying to do that. Also just as a small little update, they said that they were making a change to reduce damage down to 0 on those Gigantics, but apparently it hasn't taken yet, because I'm still able to do 1 damage on that level 64 over in Halfia Lake.
Okay.
Is the so-called waiting for a thunderstorm an expected way of playing?
I thought there would be such people, but this was a design mistake because each one was free to play, and the goal was to move in search of Gigantics in the event of a thunderstorm. After the fix, it seems that the user's playstyle is gradually changing. Confused by that translation a bit.
They might be referring to the fact that the storms could be tracked in terms of when they were going to be happening each time.
Okay.
And then they randomized that, so now players they're still waiting for thunderstorms to come, but they don't know when they're going to happen, so they're kind of just moving on and doing the regular play style until those actually pop up. Is it a big reason that Gigantics had stopped withdrawing due to mitigation measures? So this is, I think this is asking about when the Gigantics used to disappear right after a storm, rather than how it is now when players are still attacking it.
I agree. However, this was not a mitigation measure, but the purpose was to eliminate the thunderstorm wait. The development team was determined that one of the causes of waiting for a thunderstorm is that it may not be defeated in time.
Yep. With NGS, you can now move quite comfortably. Can you please tell us if there are any changes or difficulties leading up to that point?
PSO2, I think it was difficult to take action, such as moving using photon arts at the highest speed. NGS was developed with the aim of simple operation that anyone can enjoy. Regarding game speed, we have adjusted Photon Dash to be the fastest way to move. In the underdeveloped version, it was the faster game overall, but it was so difficult that it was at its current speed. Honestly, I much prefer faster movements.
Yeah, I agree. What was the difficulty?
It's in battle in general. I also played the version under development, and it certainly seemed pretty fast compared to other games. If you're a user accustomed to the raster, of PSO2, it may not be a problem, but it was reviewed it was reviewed because it was difficult for new users.
So then I think they're saying here that combat was a lot faster than other games that players might have played in the past, and that's pretty true. I mean, aside from PSO2, there really haven't been too many other games that are sort of action-oriented like PSO2 is in terms of an MMO setting. I think Terra was like one of the other ones that was like it.
And again, this isn't an MMO, this is an MO.
Yeah. Please tell us the reason why the wall kick was introduced.
Wall kick is an NGS style of hanging action that is caught on a cliff or a handrail when you fall off the scaffolding during battle, which is common in action games. We emphasize the ability to operate comfortably rather than the reality of movement.
Currently 7 classes are implemented. Are there any other... is there any reason to adopt the existing class of PSO2?
There was a reflection of Episode 5, and I wanted users to brush up their favorite classes and have them enjoy themselves with new standards. Yeah, a reflection of Episode 5 with Hiro.
Yeah,
they did the same thing when it came to Etoile, Phantom, and Luster. It made it to where those classes were pretty much the standard classes to play, and other classes just weren't as desirable.
Yep. Yeah, and in this case, they're releasing a class that seems weaker than other classes currently.
Yeah. It's a balance in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Yeah, Braver definitely needs to be buffed.
Episode 5, why'd they bring the same director back?
Yep. Why did
Hiro
you pay...
didn't get, like, the balance issues with Hiro didn't get addressed until a year later.
Yep, and that was just by giving all the other classes a +5 to their levels.
It pretty much did nothing, because Hiro was still overpowered at that point.
Yep. What did you pay particular attention to when implementing the classes?
In the process of brushing up, I was quite conscious of feeding back the popular part of the successor class. On the other hand, we also have left some parts that can be enjoyed as well, such as incorporating the photon arts used by many users in the basic class of PSO2 into skills.
The number of photon arts and techniques is smaller than immediately after the service of PSO2. Please tell me the reason.
In PSO2, the normal attack was actually just a means of recovering PP, and there were some photon arts that were not very effective. Also, because it couldn't fit in the palette, I intentionally narrowed down the number. The development team believes that the options are not reduced because there are actions that are released by skill acquisition, actions that change with additional input, and actions of other weapons with multi-weapons.
So, as a hunter, the Rising Edge-like attack, I never use that. So, there are still photon arts that are not very effective.
And that's also the same with Gunner. The one close-up 2-hit photon attack, I forget what it's called. I rarely ever use that, because the damage output is just not there. Even when charged up, finishing up a chain trigger, it's much better just to do a charge up of the basic multi-shot one and big blast at the end.
Yep. The addition of special abilities has been simplified, but why did you make a big change here?
Adding the special abilities to PSO2 was complicated, and users sometimes hesitated to upgrade their equipment, so it has become a simple and easy to understand form.
So, special abilities is what we know as augments here in the global version.
Yeah.
How's the response from users?
There are many opinions that it's become easier to understand. And yeah, I will agree with that. It has become easier to understand.
Definitely. Please let us know if there are any places or times in the field that you would like us to pay attention to.
Aleo Town and Resolve Forest. Aleo Town is the first place for users to go, so I made it with a lot of energy. For example, I would like you to pay attention to the appearance of girls playing with sprinkler water.
Okay.
Okay. The Resolve Forest looks like a normal forest during the day, but it has the characteristics of having a cyber atmosphere at night. Seems the development team has a strong feeling for the field that it was created from the beginning of the development of NGS.
Yeah, Result Forest definitely has a bit of mystery behind it, including the strange text that can appear in the evening on some of the tree branches, or not branches, but roots. Aleo Town will not be able to be visited as the story progresses.
I agree. When you play for the first time, you tend to focus on advancing the story, so take your time when you start playing with another character. And yeah, Aleo Town, if you haven't played the game yet at this point, Aleo Town goes boom.
Yeah, pretty much within 10 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, I saw that one coming just because I noticed that there were no vendors in town, so I knew what was up. Braver has been implemented, but how is the user's reaction?
Negative.
Yeah.
It may be a new class, but it is a situation where many users are playing, well, because it's a new class. We have also received many opinions that it is fun and cool, but we have also received opinions on the scope of attacks and the ease of handling, so we are currently considering adjustments within the development team.
So that's good to hear, that they are they are listening.
That is very good to hear.
So this question was asked before the urgent quest came out here. Please tell us what kind of quest this is, including the difficulty level.
I also played in advance, but the first time it is designed to be difficult to clear with one rig left. However, even if you can't protect the rig until the end, you can still get rewards. The quest result is an honor or a trophy, so I think it would be nice if you could play casually.
Yeah, depending upon how much health there is still left with the rigs, you get somewhere between a C to an S rank. And what kind of rewards are available?
New series of weapons, the Evilcourt series, will drop. The potential is said to be something that makes it easier for Photon Blast to shoot.
And that is true. It increases the speed at what it builds at.
Mm-hmm.
The impression is very similar to the mining-based defense battle of PSO2, but did you dare to make it like that?
PSO2 mining-based defense battle invasion is the most orthodox form, so I intentionally made it similar so that even new users can easily understand it.
Are there any adjustments that make it easier for Mining Rig Defense Battle Aleo to occur immediately after implementation?
Yes, it is temporarily more likely to occur than the other two originally quests.
And a large amount of Meseta is required to strengthen equipment. Is there any relief for this?
With the August 4th update, the Meseta that can be attained as a weekly task reward has been adjusted. If you don't have enough Meseta, please focus on your weekly task. Which, yes, they did increase the cap on Meseta. And yeah, enhancing equipment is a massive Meseta sink.
That it is. The Glitzen series appeared at the 9th anniversary event, but how will attributed weapons be treated in New Genesis?
We will continue to create opportunities to obtain it at events. Since it is positioned as a weapon that can fight advantageously during the event period, it is not something that requires attributed weapons.
And then regarding future collaborations, there was a Zutomayo collaboration, but are you thinking of collaborating with anime and games?
I would like to collaborate, but the first thing to do is to instill the worldview and game contents of NGS, so I will not immediately do it at the pace of PSO2.
Yeah, I think that's a smart thing. They gotta fix their game first before they start doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you thinking of something like an offline event for New Genesis?
Next year is the 10th anniversary of PSO2, so I would like to plan something, but the social situation is changing every day, and honestly, it's difficult to predict what will happen in the future. In such a situation, we are considering various formats for the event, and we have not decided yet. Actually, I'd like to get in touch with the users in real way as before.
Yeah, it's a shame that coronavirus is causing these issues, but hopefully eventually we will get some sort of a live event, even here for the global version.
Oh, especially for the global version. I would absolutely love that.
Yep. Finally, do you have a message for your readers?
Thank you for always enjoying NGS. In this interview, I mainly talked about what the development team had heard in advance. This information is only available here, such as the content that you think, huh, and the story that you made with a lot of energy, so I hope you enjoy it. A new class Braver and a new emergency quest was delivered in August, but we will continue to strive to enjoy NGS by everyone at ARKS, including myself as a developer, operator, and navigator. Thank you for your continued support.
Yeah, so unfortunately some of the meeting was lost there, but at least it's good to know that they are paying attention to what the user base is saying. Hopefully they're going to right the ship soon enough, but we'll have to see.
Paying attention kind of loosely.
Yeah.
Because again, if communication was much better, then we would still have symbol arts.
True. Yep. I agree with you there. Alright, so that's it for New Genesis today. Let's move on to a bit of a longer post that was put out for Clementine in terms of what they're going to be looking to do in the future here. In fact, let me scroll this back up here.
And I'm just going to say this now, we're not going to go line by line on this, because it is a very long post.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, so basically they said that the original plan was to have level cap set at 50 or 60 to ensure everything was working correctly and that there were no major errors. And then after the initial 2 to 4 week period, they were supposed to make hasty progress towards level 180. That, of course, didn't happen.
Nope.
And so now, just to make sure things sort of get righted here, they're basically working on what's called Operation Oof here.
Oof.
Yeah.
Or more uncouthly, Operation Unfuck.
Yeah. Yeah, so Clementine is approaching its 1-year anniversary, and so that's why they're kind of putting a bit of priority on this here.
It's pretty astounding that, the way that Clementine is now is a year old. Huh.
Yeah.
I still remember the days of there weren't many things that were actually working, and all you could do is the one mission on the 5th floor.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was like the original release of the game.
Yep.
And let's see, experience requirements and MP requirements were something that got heavily stomped on at launch. And while it did get moved, it still sucks the current situation here. So, let's see here. So the level cap will go to 180, or level cap updates will drop as full difficulty tiers.
Which I'm fine with. I'm fine with having the much better, the higher level cap, because it gives people more incentive to play more.
Yep. They also said that one of the main issues is that it takes a long time to actually get started in the game to begin with. So maybe after level 50 to 80 things are a bit speedier, but that C to B slog is just a major problem. And just to hit level 30, it still takes multiple hours to hit that. And so one of the changes that they're looking at is making B rank enemies reward more experience than C rank, because there's a point where it just makes more sense to take down C rank enemies because you get quicker experience that way. They're also removing they're looking to remove the enemy tagging requirement for experience, since it's not 2006 anymore. They also want to reduce the MP requirement for base types, which I would say to that one, is there a reason why you even need the base types at this point?
That's a good question. Probably not.
Why not just set the requirement as level 1 for everything, and just make all the other classes available from level 1, except for the master classes, of course, where you would need, other classes level up instead. I think that would be a better one. The only reason you would have it, essentially, is just so that you can get your foot into the game without having to do a whole bunch of reprogramming.
Yeah. Another thing is, again, Portable 2 fixed a lot of these issues where it only has 4 classes, but whenever you rank them up, you were able to make it to where you could get higher ranked weapons then.
Yep. They're also talking about increasing the MP payout by 50%.
Which I'm fine with on that.
Yep. They also want to get rid of the where dying causes the mission rank to go down. Instead, the only thing that would cause it to go down would be if you miss enemies along the way.
I am very fine with.
Yep.
That was a very annoying thing because if you didn't get S rank, there was no point to completing the mission.
Yep. Also, limit break hitboxes would be enabled by default without the requirement of type level. So that would make it easier for boss fighting for Force players, especially in solo. There would also be equipment title rewards for reaching a certain level milestone so that you get gear even if you've been unlucky. And they want to adjust the enemy HP modifier. So that way, if you're playing solo, enemies only have 75% HP, while it's 100% for 2 to 6 members. And that's actually something similar to how PSO1 worked if you were playing online versus offline.
Yep, and it's actually how it works in Affinia whenever you do one-player mode.
Yep.
And also their damage was less compared to multiplayer mode.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
a lot of so basically their HP, defense, and and attack were lowered. I think it was by 75%.
Yep. There might have also been some speed differences as well in terms of attack velocity. Speaking of attack velocity, they also do want to increase that. And then junk all the clothing exchanges and just put all the clothing into the clothing shops instead. Which, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
They also want to make area chat be area-wide, rather than having to all have everybody kind of grouped together. They want to increase the probability of rare missions, as well as rare enemies. And they also want to try making partner NPCs work.
It's a mess to get this to work from what I've been reading.
Yeah. Yeah, but it at least would help solo players, and if they can make that work along with the 25% reduction in health, I think that would be a pretty good way to helping those players out.
Oh, it would be extremely helpful.
Yep. And then they also want to get rid of restricted lobbies, whereby you have to kind of venture out into the fields and unlock those lobbies as you travel before you can use the flight command to get to them again.
Yeah, it's pretty pointless at this point because you have the taxi service.
Yep. Plus, you've also got this nice thing in the menu now that tells you where the most popular quests are. Let's see. There's also the issue of prices. And so for that, they're going to be adding in supplementary drops. And they have the purpose of helping to equip you early on as well.
Which is going to be extremely helpful because early levels equipment is hard to come by.
Yeah. And they also want to fix the item prices as well. They're also looking to relax the mission level requirement. So players can get into like S-ranked missions earlier. They even call out even starting out at level 1 and having someone bring a player into an S or S2 mission.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, they actually no. Yeah, they say actually that it's the only situation where this is bad is in rare missions.
Yeah.
But there can be some downsides. In fact, they call out it becoming annoying for players having random low players join their mission. Obviously, you can kick them out, but it's going to be annoying for both sides at that point.
Yeah.
And what they're saying to remedy that is you may have to join a party first before you can actually be admitted into one of those missions.
Okay.
So an actual group that's dedicated to power leveling, essentially. And there can also be runaway situations with EXP and MP, especially with the rare missions. To implement some kind of EXP and MP limiting on extremely low-level characters in high-ranking missions, they would try to implement that. But still have it faster than dragging them through rank C and B missions. They're also working on something called attack accuracy, which basically gets rid of the zeros that you see for missing an enemy, even if the attack hits. So now you would always at least do some sort of damage.
It would make it to where instead of it just showing a 0, it was reduced damage.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what they're thinking of there. They're also looking to add helpful NPCs that hold nothing but knowledge. So, for example, on second floor, they can have someone tell you about the different shops that are around. And a person outside of a grinding location can tell you more about grinding.
That'd actually be really nice.
Yep. Yeah, because the actual introduction to the shops happens in the original Phantasy Star universe as a cutscene.
Yep. And also in the story mode.
Yep.
And this doesn't have a story mode.
Correct. Which is the one thing I wish that they had talked about here, because we still have no way to play Episode 3.
Nope.
They're also
likely we probably won't.
I would still like to see it at some point, especially for the purposes of just having that preserved.
I think the main problem is just it wasn't packeted at all. So there's just no data on it.
Huh. Well, there's got to be some way to at least load the missions or something like that. Like maybe. Well, I don't know how the development of this works, so I'm not gonna talk out my ass like that. They also do talk about a Meseta sync here. They can have a community donation NPC where everybody works towards a goal, and once the certain sum of Meseta has been reached, they can provide server-wide rewards such as extra experience, MP, extra Meseta, photon attack, boosting, rare missions, and things like that. And they are also thinking about
something similar to what the community mag is right now in NGS, or like Sayo the Mystic in Portable 2.
Yep. They're also thinking of having a way to convert Meseta back to Guardian's Cash.
So another Meseta sync kind of thing.
Yep. They're also talking about the Guardian's Quest system. Let's see. So they're saying that as of right now, things are kind of a chore to get done. So they just want it to be simple stuff that you don't have to go out of your way to accomplish. And then they start talking about Guardian's Advanced Style, or GAS. So,
which is a mess. It's a parasitic design.
Yep. Yeah, we're not going to go through all this here, but they would try to implement all this here.
Yeah, when it came to just the original GAS, it is like a clear definition of parasitic design.
Yeah. They're also looking at an upgrade device which would allow you to, for instance, fix the maximum grind on a weapon if you lose grind on that. as well as helping you to increase your current grind up to a maximum of 8. You'd have to go to the regular grinding shop to increase it to 10. There would also be a way to remove elements and change elements and add elements.
Oh, that would be extremely nice.
Yep, and even increasing the element percent.
You might finally get that unique weapon drop that you've been hunting for a while, and then it drops as a 1% element.
Yep. Yep, and then they...
Or even worse, it drops as a neutral.
Yep. Let's see. So they talk about a new way for doing grinding. Let's see, for a 15-star rarity weapon, you could boost the stats up to a 15 out of 15. And that would be for prototype weapons instead of regular weapons that drop. And then for grinding, failing a grind could lose your current grind by some value, but not the entirety of it. So that would be a really nice change. Actually very similar to how it is in PSO2 at that point then. Well, PSO2
but again,
for the
I
old
much
type.
prefer how Portable 2 does it, where it is guaranteed, but it costs a lot of Meseta.
Yeah, that is another way to do it.
Like, I believe grinding a 14-star weapon to max, which is just plus 10, is cost around 13 million Meseta.
Yep. And then for adding fun and challenge, let's see. So they might be adding some sort of time attack mission here, including, I think I saw at one point like the egg hunt.
Mm-hmm.
They're also having the idea of a mission spotlight as well here.
Which would be greatly appreciated on that.
Yep. And they also want to have automated seasonal event missions as well. So,
Because they do mention in this, well, they don't have a way of spawning seasonal enemies.
right. Still, it would be nice to, if, like, we could ever get, say, Firebreak on a rotation or something like that.
Oh yeah, that would be really nice.
And then they have a section here talking about drops. And it looks like they want to get, I guess, get rid of the idea of rare?
Well, kinda. Like, more so adjust it.
Yes, there's nothing consistently between run 1 and run 500, but you do eventually get that, so, I read through this whole thing prior to this, but I'm in trying to condense this down here for the show, it's, a lot of the points are very wordy here, even if I try to do that here. Yeah, so they're talking about 300 to 500 runs to get one of the 6 elements of a particular weapon, and it's only 32%. And then instead they're thinking about making that a higher percentage, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here we go. So they're talking about 40 to 50%. Rates get nutty because it's too good. Allow more 20 to 30% to drop in exchanges for raising the drop rate, which means more loot and less nothing. Okay, so yeah, so then you would get the drop more frequently under these conditions, but you wouldn't necessarily get that 50% all the time.
Yeah.
And all the while that you're hunting for this, you're also gaining Guardian's Cash by running the mission as well, which you can use to repair the weapon or even increase the percentage.
Oh, so making Guardian's Cash as a way of getting GC is just running missions? Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the plans is here. And then they also understand that that's going to cause item flooding to happen. And yeah, in terms of the plan for all this here, the first update is the early game character progression, so new players don't immediately die on entry. The next would be to work on the drops with the level cap bump, either to 180 or whatever the next difficulty tier is at the time. And then after that, then they would start working on gas and the upgrade device along with prototype stuff and grinding. And there was even a poll that was asked as part of this here of what players actually wanted to see here. Consensus appears to be that everybody wants to see the MP payout being increased by 50%. And then some of these are not as consistent here. Not everybody likes the idea of there being a Meseta sync. And
there
not
has
everybody...
to be.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. There has to be a Meseta sync.
Yeah. Not everybody likes the idea of relaxing mission level requirements either. And then, in terms of the prototype and grinding suggestion, most players like the idea of attribute grinders to customize the weapon as they want. And then for the approach to the drops in the post, most players like the idea of having an item sync in exchange for an alternative currency to use in guaranteed rewards. Yeah, this has already received like 4 pages of comments here as well, so players are definitely speaking out about this, and it'll be interesting to see what the team decides to do here.
Oh yeah, I'm very interested in this as well. Just making Phantasy Star Universe a much more enjoyable game to play would be greatly appreciated.
Yep.
Because it's an old game, so it's hard for newer people who never played Phantasy Star Universe before to get into it.
Right.
Now for me, I personally never played Universe, but I played Portable and Portable 2. And I will always keep saying Portable 2 is just a better universe.
And I'll agree with you there. They definitely made some good changes. It made the universe...
being able to block and dodge.
Yep. It made things harder, though. I will also say that. And I don't think everybody was ready for that transition to happen.
But just being able to block and dodge just made the combat just feel so much better.
Yep, definitely. And a lot of that transitioned into PSO2.
Yep. Including humans.
Yep.
But that was Infinity, so...
Yeah. Alright, so that's the update from Clementine. We got one more thing for you here today. Actually going to Phantasy Star Portable 2 Infinity. And in the past we had made mention of an HD texture program to increase the textures that are in the game. This is a separate effort from that by the name of a player by the name of Tannic, and basically they're working to do their own HD texture upscaling here. And what they've done is they basically provided me with a set of photos that we can kind of take a look at here, and I'm gonna have to wait for you to kind of see these here, but in this one, pay attention to the ground here, and you're going to see quite the transformation here in terms of just the clarity that there is between the two photos here. Definitely looks a lot better from my perspective here. Well, you might not necessarily be able to see these on the low resolution of the PSP with the with the emulator PPSSPP, you would definitely be able to see these with the higher resolution that can put out. And we got Raphon Field over here. Once again, the ground texture looks all compressed and everything there, and then suddenly it looks a whole lot better in this screenshot here.
Yes, the beauty of emulation allows you to upscale a lot of things and fix a lot of the things that were limited to the hardware.
Yep.
A lot of things had to be compressed for the PSP.
Yep. Yeah, and even last night I was doing something similar with Phantasy Star 0, and those episodes are going to be coming out over the next couple of days here. To basically going through some more of that game, which is I hadn't picked up in over a year, so.
And Zero had its own kind of compression because that was on even weaker hardware compared to the PSP.
The Nintendo DS, yes!
Yes.
And then here we have the light coming off of a floor light in one of the ruins, and then suddenly it looks a whole lot better here. You can actually make out like the different lines that make up that panel here now. And then once again, still in the ruins, this is one of the side walls, and then you can see that it's got a lot more particles to it after the change here. And then in this case, we're going to take a look at the floor here. And once again, a lot of what we saw in the floor light there. Once again, you can start to see some of that texture there, as well as even on the floor here. You can see some of the lines that have kind of made up the floor there. And then here we are out in the desert area, Motub, and once again the ground just becomes way more textured, a lot more detail in there. And same deal for this one. I think that was it. Let's see, what was this? Ah, yes, this was another photo. Okay. So yeah, it's yeah, so definitely a good effort in terms of what they've done so far from what I can see here. And I wish them the best of luck as they continue to work on this here. I'm gonna put the link to their post in the chat, so that anybody that's watching can check out the details on this here.
Tanik, you want to talk with me about something after stream? Okay.
But yeah, definitely a good job so far on that. And I wish you best of luck with getting the rest of that imported into Phantasy Star Portable 2 Infinity, because I saw that there was some that you were discussing with the other restoration team on some of this as well.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, my only hope is that the sound effects can be restored. That's all I want. The less crunchy sound effects, especially when it comes to picking up items or whenever you can't pick up an item. It's very clearly low quality, especially compared to the original Portable 2.
Yep, and I just scrolled down for you there, Tanik.
There's the delay on stream. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely, good luck with getting the rest of it done, and yeah, I look forward to seeing what you put out here, especially when I finally do my playthrough of Infinity, which, as I've mentioned before, that's still several years away at this point here, but it is on the list that I'm going to be doing that.
And I definitely need to get into Infinity more, because I really enjoy Portable 2.
Alright, and so that pretty much brings us to the end of this episode, unless you got something else here, Zance.
I got nothing else. That's all I have.
Alright. Well then, in that case, with everything said, on behalf of Xance and myself, thank you for joining us today. Day has dawned. Have a great day, everyone.
Dane.